Growing Up Nightclub, Chapter 7, Katrina, Part 1.
By the time I was 21, I had been taught by my dad and stepmom everything they knew about running the business and became the manager of Waves. I had learned, seen, and experienced more things than people 3 times my age had. I did not know it at the time, but they were testing and grooming me for the future. More and more responsibilities were put on my shoulders. Everything from hiring to firing to payroll and bookkeeping. I learned how to hide money from Uncle Sam and learned all of the ways an employee could steal from us. I learned how much stock needed to be ordered and how to negotiate the best price for beer, liquor, and supplies. I became the very best at every position in the club: bartending, DJ, working the front door, being a bouncer, even waiting tables. Whatever needed to be done, I could do it and do it extremely well. 2 years later, after honing all of my skills, they passed the reins to me, and I became a 23-year-old CEO and general manager of the whole shebang. Both clubs and the business were under my sole authority. What an honor! Dad and Virginia were still the owners, but were stepping down from day-to-day operations. I would meet them at the lake house every other Sunday when the clubs were closed. I would bring the books for them to look over, tell them about hirings or firings, and discuss with them how the business was operating overall. I would also supply them with stacks of cash. This was typically many, many thousands of dollars that we skimmed from the top from the cover charges at the door that Uncle Sam didn't need to know about. I was always well-armed and always aware of my surroundings at all times. My life was the clubs, and those clubs were my life, and I loved it. I considered myself an attractive, confident guy, 6 foot tall, short dark hair, blue eyes, lean and well-built. I dated quite a few girls over the years, but never let myself fall into a serious relationship. It was a college town with girls my age rotating through continually, so why go through the heartache? Like so many before her, Katrina was first hired to help work at the front door during the week and wait tables on the weekends at Traditions. I'll never forget the first time that Scott, the club manager at Traditions, introduced her to the staff. She seemed somewhat shy but had a large, beautiful smile and full, soft-looking lips. Her long, loosely curled brunette hair hugged the sides of her sun-kissed face. I noticed her high cheekbones, distinct jawline, and perfect teeth. Her large brown eyes captivated me. The way she did her eye makeup really brought the sexiness out. The white long-sleeve collared button-front shirts tucked into a black leather miniskirt with black cowboy boots that the waitresses wore were already pretty hot in my opinion, but there was just something about her that made that outfit super sexy. She was the opposite of the tall, blonde hair, blue-eyed Barbie doll type that I tended to go for. Maybe it was her petite frame along with all of her other attributes that attracted me to her. She was barely 5 feet tall, maybe weighed 100 pounds soak and wet and perfectly proportioned. In my eyes, she was the most unique-looking, gorgeous girl I had ever seen. And that is saying something. I couldn't seem to peel my eyes away from her as Scott introduced her around the room.
And this is the CEO and general manager of our company, Jeff O'Connor.
Hi, nice to meet you. Just call me Jeff. Welcome aboard, I said as I reached out and shook her small hand while looking into her mesmerizing eyes.
Glad to meet you. I'm Katrina,
she said with a huge smile as she kept direct eye contact with me. Well, you'll be in good hands with Holly as your trainer. If you need anything or have any questions, just let Scott or myself know, I said as I let her hand go.
I will, and thank you for the opportunity to work for you,
she said as I was turning away. I turned back to her and said, I'm sure you'll do great, with a big smile on my face. Now, the number one rule my dad pounded into my head early on is that you never, ever get romantically involved with a coworker or an employee. I believe his words were,
"It could ruin everything we have worked for. Don't let me find out you have been fucking the help."
Believe me when I say that the temptation was there many, many times over the years, and I came close to breaking that rule on more than one occasion. But so far I was more afraid of what my dad would do to me if he found out I broke that rule. You have to understand that you don't build a nightclub monopoly in a big college town without stepping on a few toes. When you step on those toes, you better have a bigger foot than they do. My dad had the biggest feet in town, and I didn't want to feel either one of them up my ass. Over the course of a few months, I got to know Katrina better. She was from Bloomington, Illinois, a small town about 2 hours outside of Chicago, where she had just finished college at ISU with a degree in business. Her father and mother were both Italian immigrants, and she spoke fluent Italian, which made her even sexier. I know what you're thinking, the Irishman and his affinity for Italian women. Anyway, they owned a small cafe that she worked at while going to school. She moved to Florida to get away from the cold with the dream of opening her own business one day.
Of course, that takes money. You have to start somewhere, right?
Katrina explained to me one night. Holly, who was a good friend of mine since high school and worked for me as the lead waitress at Traditions, randomly told me one night that Katrina had a thing for musicians. "Why would you tell me that?" I asked her.
Just saying,
She replied as she winked at me with a devilish smile. Damn, was I that obvious? I thought to myself. I thought I was acting professional and playing it cool when I would visit with Katrina, but Holly obviously could sense I was into her. I had been playing guitar since 5th grade and had been a singer-songwriter in my free time since high school. My band at the time played jazz every other Sunday night at a buddy of mine's place called The Horn in downtown Gainesville, just down the road from Waves. I couldn't get what Holly told me out of my head for the next several days, so I came up with a plan.
End of Chapter 7. Make sure to hit the bell icon so you don't miss a chapter. Also, hit like and subscribe to help grow this channel.